I love Christmas, but I used to turn my home into a full-blown holiday project. Wreaths on every window, garland on every staircase, and not one, but 3 Christmas trees. It looked festive, but it felt chaotic. I'm going to share 15 ways that you can make your home less chaotic this holiday season, but still festive. And if you enjoy something that I say, I'm really happy for you, because we should always express ourselves in our own way at any time of the year. One of the things that made my home feel so chaotic at the holidays was that I was all over the place when it came to color. I could never pinpoint why it was that when I visited everyone else's homes, they all felt so put together and mine just never did. And then it finally hit me. It was all about the colors. My home just didn't feel cohesive. Having a color scheme, especially in a small home, is such a good idea because everything just flows and it looks so good. And on the flip side of that, having too many colors just makes your home feel so chaotic and overwhelming. A few years ago, I found the most perfect Christmas ornaments, which I'm going to talk about in just a couple minutes. But that one purchase, it just changed how I decorated, and I absolutely love it now. All of my colors just flow so good together. So if you're struggling just like I was, and you just can't figure out what it is that's causing your space to not flow, to not feel good, and it just feels too chaotic, it just might be the color scheme. I'm Bren, this is Downsized to Upsize, and I love to share how we can let go of things that don't matter so that we can make space for what does. And if this sounds good to you, I would love it if you join us. Another thing that made my home just not feel quite right was that I had things that caused messes. One thing in particular that just comes to mind is I had a set of 3 of those twig kind of viney Christmas trees, and they were so pretty. When I bought them at the store, I just thought, oh, I love them. But they made such a mess. And I mean, you could just breathe on these things and glitter would come off. What did I do with those? Well, of course I decluttered them, because at this time of year where we have so many other activities and so many other stressors in our lives, our homes and our sweet little decor, kind of tree and things like that, it should all be very comforting. It shouldn't be another chore added on to our long list of things that we have to do. I like to say I'm a work in progress, and I think a lot of us are like that, where we learn our life rules along the way. And one of the things that I used to do, that I've now since backed that off, is I used to put every single ornament that has ever come into our home with our family of 6 on our tree. I'm talking everything. It doesn't matter if my kids made it at school, or we received it as a gift, or I was shopping and saw something really cute. No matter what it was, it went on my tree. I could barely find a branch for every ornament that I had. That's how many I had. Yeah, it was a lot. And I'm so glad that I decided to change it up a little bit. I feel like there's always room for improvement. You might love a tree that's just loaded with ornaments, but for me, my quality of life was really reduced. And I just noticed that I wasn't as excited about putting the tree up, because year after year, it just got to be more and more and more. So a few years ago, I found these beautiful wooden snowflake ornaments at Pottery Barn. They were on clearance. I couldn't even believe it. Look at, aren't they so cute? So these little ornaments here act as our base. I put these all over the tree. And then what I did was I had a brilliant idea, at least I think it is. Each of my family of 6, we get to pick out 10 ornaments that are our absolute favorites. So that's 60 special ornaments, plus these beautiful ornaments, which I think I have about 25 or 30 of these. And it just looks so put together. So if you are sitting there having your coffee right now and thinking, I am dreading putting up my Christmas tree, there are just too many ornaments on it, you might just want to try to reduce that number of ornaments this year and just make it the most special ornaments on your tree. I used to take this ribbon that was about this thick, and it was white, and it was really pretty. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but it used to go around my entire tree, sort of like a garland. and it was spaced like this much. Oh, it was just so much. I mean, it looks sort of like a candy cane with ornaments just sticking out every which way. And that stuff was tedious to walk around and just get it just right, because you didn't want it slanting. You wanted it, to get it like where it was just like this. What do you call that? Horizontal? Horizontal. You wanted it to look really pretty and even, right? And I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I decided one year, I'm not going to. And a quick little tip, if you use ribbon as garland, but you decided you don't want to do it anymore, you could do what I did, which was I cut that up and I used it for ribbon on our gifts that year. And it looked so pretty, but more than that, it was just a way to reuse something that I was not going to use in its previous capacity. This is the room here that we always put our Christmas tree, and I obviously have to move things out of this room to accommodate that. And I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But when I put my tree here, you can see that there's just not that much space for all of the gifts to go under the tree, plus all of the people that open the gifts to sit on the floor. Now, when we lived in our big house, we had all kinds of room for everything, our everyday things, and all of our holiday things. But when we moved into this downsized house, we really had to reevaluate all of it. So I did decide to part ways with our Christmas village. And what I noticed after that was it was just so much more peaceful to not have that village there. I wasn't always having to walk over and straighten those little people up or fix the tree skirt because Gigi went gliding into it all, I mean, she is a real trip. But more than that, on Christmas morning, it was just so nice to have all of the gifts be under the tree. We just had so much more space to open up our gifts. And in my heart, I feel really good about letting that village go to someone who could really enjoy it. Maybe someone who has a bigger home where if they do display it, they can put it up somewhere where their animals can't get to it. Or maybe they just have bigger spaces and no animals and it really looks good and it won't feel chaotic to them. But for me, it was definitely the right move. If you have little scenes like this, like villages and nativities, and it just seems like it's overwhelming, it's just too much, maybe don't get rid of them right away, but maybe do this as a test Christmas to see how it feels in your space without them. We used to have a lot going on our staircase, and I'm not just talking about the garland going up and down my railings. We also had just greenery type things, hurricanes, you name it, with the fake candles, all of that on the stairs as well, and leading all over here into the landing. And every time we would have somebody come over, I would worry that they're going to injure themselves. And I just got tired of that. So one day I just reevaluated, do I really want to do this? And the answer was no. So if your staircase is feeling like an obstacle course, you might just want to reevaluate that a little bit, tone it down, maybe make it a little bit less stressful on yourself, and see if it feels less chaotic to you. My dad passed away a couple of years ago, and I just wanted the holidays to be over at that point. I did not even, basically I was just trying to get through it. This year, I could not be more happy that my Christmas spirit is back. Granted, it's a little bit earlier than it normally was, but I'm just rolling with it. That's all there is to it. So I started to put up my Christmas decor. So excuse the mess. And also, that Gigi again. I don't know what to do with this girl. She just loves to get into things. But I wanted to mention something that we don't all think about at this time of year. And that is, we want space for people. We want people to congregate. And this is a time of year where more of them congregate. It's not just one or two. We throw parties or whatever. If your space is feeling really tight and you still have all of the things that you usually have in your space as well, here's an idea. Take some of those pieces of furniture or blankets or baskets, things that occupy the floor, and take those and put them into storage. Oftentimes, we don't always use the things on our flat surfaces. They might be decorative. If you could take those decorative items and put them in your Christmas bin and then put your Christmas items out instead, it just makes your space feel so much less chaotic. And I wanted to give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is my island, and it's usually located in my middle room with 4 stools. So what I do at the holidays in order to fit my Christmas tree is I take this island, I put it in here, and then I take those 4 stools, I put them down in our storage area, and I also relocate our chair that we usually have in the corner here. I relocate that downstairs as well. It made all of the difference because if we left those items up here, in addition to adding all of the holiday decor, it would feel so chaotic and congested. When you look at this room, you're probably thinking, it's so pretty. It just has warm and inviting light. And you would be right, because I have all of these gorgeous windows. The sun just comes shining in, and I really do love it. I try to mimic that at the holidays as well, because when you have those harsh LED lights, they can really kind of cause you to be down, in my opinion, or stress you out and make your space even feel chaotic. And I don't know if you've ever watched the channel Benji Plant. I love plants, and I enjoy watching Benji just talk about plants, and overall he loves to talk about his house, and he's just got such great ideas and inspiration. So when he did his tree last year, he talked about these lights right here, and I was like, oh, that's it. This is the ones I'm going to get. Because even though they're LED lights, they give you the feeling of having those old-fashioned warm lights that, you know, just give off the most perfect glow. Christmas, it seems like, is on a whole another level when it comes to things that say stuff. From mugs, which I've previously mentioned, which is okay at Christmas. I think it's kind of cute, actually. But when it comes to those big, gigantic signs that you stick on your front porch and they say Merry Christmas, those can really take up a lot of space to store in your home. And not only that, they might just make things a little bit more chaotic and busy and not peaceful. We just don't need words on everything. If you don't want your home looking like a store display, make sure you steer clear of all of those influencers telling you all of the decor trends to buy right now, that you have to have them, that this is in style and it's a must-have. Because it's just so much better to have things that are in your home, not just all year round, but at Christmas as well, that have meaning to you, that you actually really enjoy. And if you're starting all over again, whether you have a life change or you're just so tired of all of the things that you've had year after year and you want something different, you also don't have to go and get it all at the same time. I don't know if you're the same way as me, but buying a couple of items at a time really allows me to have appreciation for those items versus if I buy a bunch of things and I put it all out, I don't really have an appreciation for anything. So my suggestion is you pick things up along the way. These meaningful items can be handed down items. They can be thrifted items. They can be items that were gifted to you, or even things that you pick up on your travels. There are just so many opportunities to come across a beautiful item. You just have a special memory attached to it. A few years ago, as I was pulling out my holiday decor, I'm not sure what got into me, but I started just picking up every item, and I looked at it and I said, do you really want to put this out this year? I talk to myself all the time like that. I don't know if you guys do, but I really do. I'm not even joking. I'm my own best friend. I would look at these things and say, is this something that I really want to put out? Do I want to even own this anymore? But I got rid of so many things, from ornaments to decorations, and even some inherited items that I just didn't feel were my style. How I handled that is basically the generic stuff. I just donated it to my local charity because they always have a really nice Christmas area that people can go and buy from. It's just a great way to give back to your local community. But on the inherited items, I would suggest you do what I did, is just to see if your family members want that item. And I bet you that probably they will. It's just so much more respectful to let that item go to somebody that you love versus keeping it in a bin because you just don't feel like it's your style. There's a lot of fake stuff going on at this time of year, isn't there? We have artificial trees and fake wreaths and artificial garland. There's just so many of the things that are plastic. And that is okay. I'm not saying that a fake tree is a bad thing, because actually I'm sitting on one right now. I'm sitting on the box of my artificial tree. We tried to have a real one year, and it was the worst Christmas ever because my family just has a bunch of allergies, which makes it impossible for us to have a real tree. At this time of year, when we have so many fake and artificial things in our home, it's good to add some natural materials in, like cotton pillowcases or blankets that have wool on them or in them. You know, the material is made of wool, right? Just those natural touches that you can bring in, like my wood ornaments. I forgot about that one. Those wood ornaments just add such a beautiful feel. If you're like me and you have to have a lot of those artificial things in your home at this time of year, maybe consider adding some of those natural touches in. They just make your space feel so calm and peaceful. Artificial fragrances can really affect us. It can affect our mood. It can affect how we feel. It can give us headaches. And it can be really bad for allergies, which is the camp that my family lands in. We've made a lot of changes in our home, but one of the things at Christmas that we've changed is when we pull out our little candles, I always make sure to have the ones that do not have the regular wax in them. I always go with beeswax. And another thing that my family can't tolerate are those plug-in fragrance things. What I do now is I get a pot of boiling water. I slice up some oranges. I put that in there with some cloves and also a little bit of cinnamon, and it just creates the best smell. When I was buying my tree, I really tried to buy one that looked as real as possible because I do like the look of a real tree. I just can't have one. So if you're in the market for a new tree this year and you're looking around and you're just not spotting the right one, I would highly suggest that you don't settle. Make sure that even if you have to go a Christmas without a tree, or just use your old tree for a little bit more, find one that has longevity that you can use year after year that you will be happy with. Because in this regard, as in all of your purchases, they should be intentional and you should have the things that you really want and not settle. One of the best ways that you can feel festive in your home at the holidays is to have every decor item in it reflect your style. So when you're getting out your holiday decor and it doesn't quite match up with your current style, let's say you used to have farmhouse, style, or you used to love the traditional things, and now you're into Scandinavian or Japandi, whatever kind of style that you love right now in your home in general. When you're bringing out your Christmas items and they are from your old styles, the previous things that you used to love, but they don't quite match up right now to your current style, that's probably not going to feel so good, right? So my suggestion to you is you can declutter some of those things if you just don't love them anymore, and maybe add in some things that you do love. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love to talk about minimalist and simple living, organizing and decluttering, making your home cozy, and ways to live your best life. If you love these topics as much as I do, please subscribe to my channel and make sure that you leave me a comment below and say hi. I would love to meet you. And if you have time, click on one of these next videos that YouTube picked out just for you.